But the major takeaway in terms of Mullet and the Twisted Trek project is this 150mm fork. A more aggressive geo is certainly still well within the comfort zone of this frame. Hey up, I'm Guy Castivan, the Tester Man, and welcome to, well, God knows what part of the Twisted Trek build-up series this is. Going a few months now, but today we've got new fork, new shock, and a 27.5-inch back wheeling. So, a lot of you are already asking about how this bike rides in Mullet. So let's get onto the trails and find out. And I'll properly chuck in some initial notes on that new fork and shock tune as well. So let's not start with an assumption. Let's start by clarifying what Mullet means in this situation, because it can kind of come to mean a bunch of things, like running bigger gears at the back, but in this context it means, hey, I'm running smaller wheel at the back, so 27.5 rear, and then keeping the 29er on the front. And it also means, in this case, that I've got 150 fork up front and then 130mm of travel on the rear. So it's offset both in terms of wheel size and travel quite significantly now. Plus, it's a 2.4 on the front and then 2.6 on the back. So you've got a fatter but smaller tyre on the rear there. And I'm also running pretty diverse tread selection. So my favourite Rock Razor semi-sleek on the back, and then Knobby Nick on the front. Cheers mate. And before you think I've gone mental running a semi-slick in these conditions, A, Rock Razor, way grippier than you'd imagine, but also B, I want to get that rolling speed back in, because that smaller rear inevitably just hooks up and catches a bit more than running twin 29er. And as I'm just about to meet up with Neil and Ryan, I need all the help I can get to try and keep them in sight, even if that might mean some sketchy moments on the back. But anyway, I'm going to go to the chest cam now, so I'm not being antisocial full face, which means things might get a little more shaky, but it'll stop you getting my bad breath in your lens as we pedal along. And the idea of that smaller wheel is it just means the back wheel kind of basically less traction from the back wheel in terms of turning, so it carves in easier. It's got a different scrub rate. God, I'm not explaining this well, because it's a bit hectic down here, to be honest. But basically that back wheel turns tighter because it's smaller, turns inside the front wheel as well, so you've got a more manoeuvrable, more agile bike, easier to move around, and theoretically it also accelerates better as well. And it's actually what pretty much all the World Cup downhillers use in terms of wheel choice now. It's really hard to stay high when the roots are that greasy, especially on a semi-slick. I felt good down there, even if I couldn't explain stuff, because basically it kind of forces you to rely on the front wheel more for traction and braking, which is what you should be doing anyway. So it's quite a good training aid. And I was never really into it because it's definitely slower and it's lumpier at the rear as well, but I got right into it on the Druid with the high pivot because that deals with rear wheel impact so well that you didn't really notice the smaller wheel clattering into stuff as much. But you really notice the playability because that bike was so fast through high-speed jank. You often needed to collect yourself from situations when you're going a lot faster than you expected into corners or out the far side. So not only, but, oh hello, nearly went the wrong way. But I can definitely tell, even with this new shocking, that there's still more clatter and batter in this rear end with this smaller wheel. But oh hello, whoa. And also because that rear wheel's a bit smaller, it's also a bit lighter. But it's mainly that ability to kind of hit the bike around, swerve it with your butt, that really stands out compared to a full 29. And seeing as this, series of videos is all about different project builds, I should really tell you what build I'm running at the moment. So still on the old analog SRAM XX1, luckily perked up with enduro jockey wheels. That's about the only fresh thing about it, poor thing. Still working, surprisingly well. And then still got Hope Tech 4 E4 brakes. They've given me zero issues. Great brake, possibly more than I need, but really impressive. And they still got that P&W high-rise cockpit on there as well, which not a massive fan of aesthetically because I don't like the high-rise bar look, but oh yes, nicely hooked, and I'll tell you about that, more about that in a second. But the high bar rising position, now I've got used to it on climbs, is working all right. All right. Yeah. Full in. But the big upgrade. And this is, that's already a big statement. If you saw my last video on this bike, I was on 1,350 quid's worth, top of the range box, 36 grip X2 factory. But switch that out to a Lyrik Ultimate, same 150mm travel, and immediately this bike just feels so much more gripped and connected on the front. I haven't changed tyres or wheels or anything else deliberately, but it just feels amazing up front now. And it's always been super close between 36 and Lyrik. They've actually swapped places in kind of the ranking, certainly personally speaking. I reckon Fox have had it for the past few generations. These couple of generations with grip 2 compared to more recent Charger dampers from RockShox, but this Lyrik is so much better. Because what's interesting, it's feeling smoother and faster and more gripped, but it's using less travel as well. So the support, up new berm, thanks to single traction, is so much better through the turns. But can just keep my hands really relaxed. Yeah, okay, berm made of mud. Oh, they've smoothed out the jank section as well. Oh, I'm not sure about that. I mean, I guess it's good to get flow, but that was exactly where you'd find out how good a fork was or wasn't. But, you know, I'm literally running this stock settings. Go all over the place. I still didn't find a sweet spot with the 36, but even halfway down the dampers on this Lyrik, just feeling super relaxed and chilled on it. Normally, traditionally where I crash after saying something like that, but no. Even the curse of the compliment hasn't unsettled that Charger 3.1 damper. Oh yes. And my arms had a fairly heavy day yesterday, but Charger does not care. Smooth, supportive, assured. Everything you want from like a pack of fork cliche cards. Top job. Bit of winter brightness. For some more fork and small back wheel chat. I don't know if you heard it then, but you can just hear that. Still that little clunk from that smaller wheel, but it's definitely a lot easier to move around as long as you're ready for it to catch slightly. I kind of highlighted more now. But that's super smooth Lyrik up front, but it's also a new shock tune that seems to be working nicely as well. A little bit more open than the stock tune I had. And also it's designed to be at 55mm. It's not a modified 50mm stroke. That smaller wheel, well, you have to work a bit harder for the rollover. Also, obviously turns tighter on climbs as well. Which when you're doing lots of janky switchbacks, like here at Steinway. Whoop, whoa! Come on, keep going. Spun the back wheel. That's a definite bonus. It is greasy. And while it looks bright, it's only about 3 degrees. So, tyres aren't going to be as soft or as sticky as normal. And, well, you can compensate with a shock chip, the different bottom bracket height. You still, oh no, clip the log going in. Sorry mate. Too much chat, not enough concentration. What was I trying to say? The front wheel is slacker, less weighted, seat tube isn't steep. So as you can see, you've got to concentrate a bit more about keeping the front wheel online. So while definitely a better party bike like this, I've got to make sure that party doesn't get out of hand. But I don't think many people are fitting a mullet for climbing. It's very much a sort of playing, jibbing, shrouding, whatever the kids do these days, setup. But for tighter trails like this, it is a really good setup. Another thing I have to say, it's top fuel. Still feels surprisingly agile. Even with, it's kind of its heaviest build so far. I mean, that fork's just over 2 kilos. You've got a heavier rear wheel. But in with pedals on, ton of mud, tool wrap, 14.3 kilos, so it's probably 13.5 as I'd normally weigh it naked with pedals off, which for a 150, 130 mil bike, pretty damn impressive actually, because it certainly doesn't feel like the front end can't control that longer fork. Right, time for some classic stain burn black jank fest, which should be a good way to kind of illustrate the pros and cons of this bike setup. So through there you've got, you know the back end is going to come around tighter, but I've already hit the pedals because I'm a little bit closer to the ground, plus definitely banging around more, even with a 2.6 on, at pretty low pressures than it was with 235 cross-country tires. And you can hear, it sliding there on the back. I've got to work a bit harder up there, just because I haven't guaranteed traction and smooth rollover. It's all a bit more staccato at the back, and then keep it on track. There we go. So we're up, which is good. Yeah, and then that smaller rear wheel helps around there. Then you're having a bit of a Braden Bringhurst moment. But less, classic timing, less roll over there. From what I remember, I'll catch up on the rest of the spec. So, front wheel is a reserve XC28, so nice light, reasonably compliant but tough, narrower front wheel. And the rear is a Roval Traverse 2, I think. So again, mid-weight, a little bit heavier but super broad, a very flat profile, so definitely extra compliant and just helps out with tyre preservation when you're slapping sharp edges. It's got to be a bit careful, not getting too far off the back there. Whew. But see, although it's skidding at the back, it's still easier to move that rear wheel round, but then you don't get as much flow there, but you get slightly better acceleration. Yes! Oh, happy to get that. Yeah, sound enough speed. Get over the spine. See some nasty injuries on that over the years. So it's always good to get that on. And down here, whoa! See, proper kick around at the back there. Which is great when you're pointing the right way up front. But it is, what I'm saying is it's basically more unstable. But there, again, just dragging the wheel, it's going to come in tighter, so you can just literally lean into that fork and let it do its sweet RockShox business down there. And then you've just got to suck up literally the bigger battering from the smaller wheel across there. So it's definitely not, especially with only 130 mil at the rear, it's definitely not a magic bullet, because every one of those millimeters, especially when that's when it's supposed to be good, dabbed out, especially when every one of those millimeters counts that little bit more. Whereas long travel, if you're downhill, 200 mil of travel, then and a high pivot, then that higher impact, it's not going to matter as much as the agility and be able to hit the faster lines, even if your bike is actually rolling slightly slower. And you know, those guys do all their checking against the clock, so they're definitely not doing that for fashion. And again, just that little tighter turning there, I'll give to the Mullet, but then that drifting offline, I'll also blame on the Mullet. So. Oh, flat from the rear there, not sure what that was. Oh no, missed it. Like I say, I'm trying to take all the old school rocky lines. Just don't ride this much. Got to preserve the heritage. And then I missed them. Up, way. And if I was a jumper, I'd probably be raving about MX Mullet, whatever you want to call it too. So again, obviously it's easier to move around on the ground. It's easier to whip about in the air as well. It definitely makes this top feel more playful, feel more of a fun bike than just a fast bike. Like I say, it's just, I find myself just leaning more, doing the, you know, tipping angles that I'm supposed to with the front that make the thumbnails look good. Oh, just occasionally like then, front wheel just dropping off something and the back wheel catches more than you're expecting. You go, oh, Mullet. Oh, that was very poor. Yes. That was very poor indeed. All right.
Take it on.
Yeah.
For us.
That was a fail. Big fail. Come on, guys. All right, I'll just brace myself now, so. Definitely have to clean the rest of it. And again, I think if we're going to blame anything, pretend it was the error on bike, not error in saddle. I'd say it's because that bar's just a little too high. My tastes when climbing now. So, I just wanted to keep it the same as when I was riding the 36. I think I'll be going back to a lower bar setup for climbing there. Okay. Oh, pedal tap. Again, smaller back wheel, lower BB. At least we got that this time. Come on, look through it, Des. Look through it, don't stop. Alright, see there, tighter turn, put me onto a tighter line than normal. Actually worked really nicely. I'm going to stop saying swings and roundabouts now. I think I made it clear enough where Mullet works and Mullet doesn't. But the major takeaway in terms of Mullet and the Twisted Trek project is this 150mm fork and more aggressive geo is certainly still well within the comfort zone of this frame.
Just been punted the GoPro.
It's all right, I didn't die this time. Just managed to knee the GoPro off my chest mount. And while I think, you know, this is probably as far as you're going to want to push it, this frame set is still very much capable of making good use of this 150mm Lyrik and really pushing the front end on some properly rowdy terrain, and that back end isn't feeling outclassed either. Although obviously the next stage is to hit some bigger, faster tracks to see how it behaves on them. You know, we might find the edges of the frame capacity and shock capacity envelope there, but so far, bloody grand. Loving a bit of top fuel mullet. Oh, and I forgot to say on spec check, hope cranks, time pedals, still going really, really well. Barn bracket feels a bit stiff now, but these time pedals, especially in filtered conditions like this, absolutely spot on. So, thanks for watching. Yet another Twisted Trek episode. I think we can safely say, initial feedback on the mullet mix, so far, so very good. Like I say, need to amp it up with some bigger tracks. And also, that Lyrik and that new shock tune, very, very impressive so far. So, probably do some more in-depth data, because I can't even remember what that tune is. I have to speak to Carsten at RockShox, because he's the guy, I got a runny nose, sorry, who did that specific tune for this bike. Off feedback from Trek, from Travis Brown at Trek. He's like one of the main development riders, but that Lyrik with that Charger 3.1 damper, that, I was going to say it was a revelation, but if it was a revelation, it'd be RockShox's cheaper, short travel fork. No, so I guess it's me waxing lyrical about the first ride on the 150mm RockShox. But anyway, that'll be a separate video as well. So, like, subscribe, throw some quid on Patreon if you really like what I'm doing here on the channel. And otherwise, if you are thinking of doing a mullet conversion on your bike, or you've done a mullet conversion on your bike, or your Team Mullet or Team Twin 29er, jump into the comments. Let's have a good old chat about it.